national cash transfer include corruption, misuse of the funds, not taking cognizance of the inflation effects, and of course, diversion of the funds. These are the risks that are associated with the conditional cash transfers as expressed by Nigerians. But I want to believe, having gone through your CV, that you have what it takes to protect Nigerians and the households that this money are meant for. Kindly share with us, what are those things, what are those strategies, what are those strategies that you think will better protect the households that this money are meant for. And lastly, I want to congratulate you for representing our agenda very well. Thank you and well done. Mrs. Alima Shehu, well done.
And distinguished members for your question. On the first question, on why the poverty level in Nigeria has not reduced, despite the fact that a lot of funds have been invested in the social investment programs. I agree with you, distinguished, but I started by saying I commend this great chamber for putting in place a legal and institutional framework which has clearly identified the functions of the national coordinator, the governing body, the stakeholders, which includes you, the state governors, and the House of Reps. The program never had it this good. So I believe this is a step in the right direction. This will make implementations of policies and projects under the agency easy. I would like to let you know that in the 4 programs, in the social investment programs, each target a different kind of group. And I'll start by the conditional cash transfer program. It targets the poorest of the poor in the remotest of locations in the country. With a 5,000 naira bi-monthly stipend, this is just for normal consumption. The programs are structured and they have a design, but unfortunately, none of the programs have been taken into their logical conclusion. And it is only when all of these components of the program have been taken to their logical conclusion that we will find the impact in these households. So take for instance, the conditional cash transfer started with the Abacha restituted funds of $322 million, which was aimed at uplifting only 1 million households. It was in 2018 that the World Bank funds were received, about 500 million naira. And then it was expanded to reach more households. But in all of this, only one component of the conditional cash transfer, which is the base cash given on monthly basis, has been taken to its logical conclusion. The next component, which is supposed to completely uplift these poor and the vulnerables out of poverty, is the human capital development component of the program. So while all the poor and vulnerables that have been enrolled into the program are entitled to 5,000 naira, the next component of the program, it's not for every household. A household has to enroll into a core responsibility before they are entitled to this program, before they are entitled to this grant. That is what we call the top-up. And that is the part that completely alleviates the poor and vulnerable out of poverty. So they have to take a co-responsibility, like enrolling their children in school, visitation of healthcare centers to reduce maternal and infant mortality. Or you have to engage in nutrition or environmental sanitation. So while House A is receiving 5,000, House B might be receiving 10,000 naira. The next component is the livelihood, still under conditional cash transfer. The livelihood is a one-off grant of 150,000 naira of a household that has keyed into the coaching and mentoring of the skills acquisitions they have been taught. We inspect periodically the kind of businesses they do. And at exit, every household is supposed to spend 3 years on the program and to be exited in 3 years by giving them the one-off livelihood grant. This is to say, you have completely moved out of where we found you. There's a poverty mapping in the country. There's a poverty map that identifies the poor and vulnerable local governments in each state. And that is the map that is being used to target these beneficiaries. That is why it is not in all the 774 local governments. And along the line, the funds were exhausted without even carrying the full core responsibility. Was just piloted in 11 states, and the livelihood has just been piloted in 6 states. In 6 states within the 6 geographical zones. But I'll tell you for a fact that in conditional cash transfer program, in as much as there are criticisms, I know there are gaps, there are challenges. But I would like to tell you that the accountability process of the Abacha restituted funds and the World Bank is being supervised by the Swiss development partners and the World Bank. And we at the office, we don't come in contact with the physical cash, even when we're paying it, except we go to the field. So the disbursement of the cash starts from the CBN, where the account is domiciled, to the payment service providers who are regulated and licensed by the central bank. And disbursement is done by the payment service providers. It is when all disbursements are being made. Even when we became digitized, that I could monitor all that it's happening. They come back, the payment service providers report back to the bank, and a team of reconciliators of all these banks come together to reconcile what has been paid and what has not been unpaid. And the exact unpaid balances are remitted back to the CBN account. This is how transparent the conditional cash transfer is. So it is sad to say this program has not been taken to its logical conclusion. I participated fully in the next borrowing of the NAP scale-up of the 800 million World Bank loan from beginning to the end. It is that funds that was meant to continue on the core responsibilities and the livelihood grant. But it's yet to happen. That is one. Then the Empower does not target the poorest of the poor. It targets graduates and non-graduates. That program is supposed to be for 2 years. It is assumed that by 2 years, this youth have gotten another job, and they will be exited. But as it is today, even the very first ones enrolled have still not been exited. So none of the programs have been taken to its logical conclusion. For the GEEP, the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program. Okay. Okay. It's an interest-free loan that targets small and medium-scale entrepreneurs from 50,000 to 300,000, mostly those that live in the urban area. And that program, in the 4 years that the ministry was created, was just launched in August 2021. and I think we called it like GIB 2.0. Then the homegrown school feeding. The homegrown school feeding targets pupils of public school from primary 1 to primary 3, who are to be fed during school session. So I understand what this distinguished chamber. Thank you.
Me, on behalf of the Senate,
speak on behalf of my sister. I want first of all congratulate the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for finding it worthy to approve the appointment of Halima Shehu Kapin Dangi. She is from Katsina and she is one of the most respected family she came from. And looking at the activities and her educational background, she works in the banking industries, and she also works in Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and she coordinates most of the activities of the ministry. So I believe this program will be very transparently and responsibly handled by this gentlewoman. Because what a man can do, woman can do better. That is why Mr. President find it worthy to appoint her as national coordinator of this social investment program. So, Mr. President, I want to urge my colleagues to support this very important appointment so that she can take a bow and leave. Thank you, Mr. President.
thank you, distinguished Senator Danduse. But I don't know whether they sent just 1 minute, give her an opportunity to, she's from Katsina. So Senator Danduse may wish to say whether he's in tune with this appointment or not.
Praise be to Allah, in whose hands is the kingdom, and He has power over all. Your Excellency, the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Godswill Akpabio, the Senate leadership, distinguished senators, especially the female senators, I recognize you. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, sir, permit me to register my appreciation and gratitude to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for finding me worthy of nomination for the position of National Coordinator for the National Social Investment Program Agency. I would like to tell this House, this is the second appointment that Mr. President has given me in 1 year. During the campaigns, he carved out a special directorate for social investment and humanitarian, and I was appointed as the national director of that directorate. To all those who participated fully in the presidential campaign must have witnessed how much impact the directorate had in both the state and federal level. Again, Mr. President, I say thank you. I would like to appreciate my distinguished brothers from Katsina State, Senator Abdulaziz Musa Adwa, Senator Muhammad Mentari Danduze, and Senator Nasir Sani Zangwandara. Thank you for your continuous support. I would also like to commend this great chamber for establishing an act which stands as a legal framework for the National Social Investment Program. This has long been overdue. My name is Halima Shehu from Kafindangi village in Katsina State. I had my primary education in Katsina. I then attended Federal Government College Kaduna, where I obtained my WAEC certificate. I enrolled into ABU Zaria, where I obtained a degree in English and a master's degree in international affairs and diplomacy. I then went for the mandatory youth service at Afri Projects Consortium, a project under the Petroleum Trust Fund then. Immediately after my youth service, I got a job with former Intercity Bank PLC, and I remained in the banking career for 10 years. From Intercity Bank PLC to Unity Bank and to Access Bank PLC. In the course of my banking career, I was trained on due diligence, transparency, and accountability in carrying out financial transactions. I got an opportunity to head the cash unit, funds transfer unit, clearing unit, reconciliation unit, operations and coordination unit in these banks. I also got an opportunity to be redeployed to audit an internal control department. And I happen to be the youngest and the only female in that department with the former Intercity Bank. Before rounding up my career in the banking industry, I became a branch services head, otherwise known as operations manager in some other banks, in the then only Access Bank branch in Kaduna State. I decided to resign from the banking career, because of my burning flair and passion to serve humanity. So I joined politics in 2010. By 2011, I was appointed as the Senior Special Assistant to the Executive Governor of Katsina State. In that same moment, I was also appointed as the member of the board of the State Board of Internal Revenue. By 2016, I took a temporary assignment with the ECOWAS as a presidential election observer at Cape Verde Island. From 2017 to 2022, I worked very closely with the pioneer minister of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, from Refugee Commission to the ministry. I saw the formation of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs from its baby stage to where it is today. I participated fully in all the activities of the ministry, especially the National Social Investment Programs. In the same ministry, I held the position of the National Program Coordinator for the Conditional Cash Transfer Program. One of my groundbreaking records of achievement in the cash transfer office was fully digitizing the payment process system. So I brought my banking career and expertise into play. The digitization of the conditional cash transfer program made transparency and accountability easy on the Abacha restituted funds and World Bank funds that were used in that program. It is no doubt that my being a coordinator in that program has exposed me and availed me the opportunity to come in direct contact with the poor and the vulnerables across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. The conditional cash transfer, as we know, covered 613 local government, 55,000 communities, and 7,000 political wards. a program that touched 2 million homes, which translated to about 10 million individuals. The digitization of that program gave an opportunity for the unreached and the unbanked to be fully coached and mentored on financial literacy. It was the first of its kind in the history of Nigeria to open over 2 million accounts in 3 months across commercial banks, microfinance banks, using payment service providers regulated and licensed by the central bank. This is my biggest achievement, because by digitizing the program became the biggest financial inclusion program, not only in Nigeria, but in West Africa at large. Distinguished members, I would like to still commend you, because what the social investment program has been lacking was a legal and institutional framework. And this hallowed chamber has done justice to the program. I'm very much familiar with all the programs. I have participated fully in carrying out all those programs across the country. I'll pause here and I'll say thank you for listening.
Thank you.